group. The group says the protest is aimed at protecting students' rights. Private schools body PAPSON has said some schools suspended classes after receiving letters from the organization.
एउटा संस्थाबाट पत्र आयो र 18 वटा बुदा पनि छ र त्यो पत्र मलाई चाहिँ व्यक्तिगत रूपमा फोन आएको छैन तर धेरै ठाउँमा चाहिँ त्यसको प्रेसर पर्यो भन्ने खालको कुरा आयो र यसो विचार गर्दाखेरि झन्डै 30 देखि 40% स्कुलहरु चाहिँ बन्द भएको देखियो तर त्यसभित्र 70% चाहिँ अनलाइन मार्फतबाट पढाइ भइराखेको छ तर यो पनि हुनु हुँदैन स्कुलमा प्रभाव पर्नु नै हुँदैन किनभने शैक्षिक क्षेत्र भनेको शान्ति क्षेत्र चाहिँ घोषणा भइसकेको क्षेत्र हो यो त्यसले गर्दा बच्चा-बच्चीले पनि पढ्न पाउने नैसर्गिक अधिकारको कुरा हो कुनै पनि राजनीतिक दलले आफ्नो माग पूरा गर्नको निमित्त सरकारसँग डायलग गर्नुपर्छ सम्बन्धित क्षेत्रसँग डायलग गर्नुपर्छ सम्बन्धित व्यक्तिहरुसँग डायलग गर्नुपर्छ त्यसले गर्दाखेरि स्कुलहरुलाई चाहिँ त्यसको माग पूरा गर्नको निमित्त एउटा हतियारको रूपमा प्रयोग नगरियोस् भन्ने चाहिँ PAPSONको हार्दिक अनुरोध पनि छ.
We'll take a short break here. More news coming up. Welcome back. You're watching NTV World Primetime News. Cold conditions have intensified across Nepal over the past few days, disrupting daily life in several regions. Dense fog and cold waves have affected many districts in the Tarai, while temperatures have also dropped in the hilly region. The Department of Hydrology and Meteorology says fog and mist continue in the southern plains with partly cloudy conditions expected in Koshi, Madhesh and Bagmati provinces. According to National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority, all Tarai districts have been impacted by the cold wave, though no major incidents have been reported so far. Doctors say cold-related illnesses such as flu, fever and respiratory infections are on the rise. Health experts advise children, the elderly and people with chronic illnesses to take extra precautions, including wearing warm clothing and avoiding unnecessary travel during severe cold spells. Temperatures have dropped sharply across most districts of Lumbini province in recent days, affecting daily life in Rupandehi, Kapilvastu, Bake, Dang, Bardia, Palpa, Gulmi and Argakhachi. In the Tarai, minimum temperatures are between 4 and 7 degrees Celsius, while daytime highs reach 7 to 12 degrees. Cold waves and dense fog have reduced outdoor activities in cities like Butwal and Bhairahawa. Residents, especially children, the elderly and those with chronic illnesses are struggling to cope, with many lighting fires indoors for warmth. Health experts advise warm clothing, hot and nutritious food and precautions against cold-related illnesses such as coughs and respiratory infections. The Rupandehi District Disaster Management Committee had approved a cold wave preparedness plan, but implementation has been slow, leaving vulnerable communities particularly at risk. Now, with winter temperatures dropping sharply across Nepal, health risks are rising, especially in the Tarai and hilly regions. We're now joined by Dr. Yogendra Ambate, Assistant Professor at Patan Academy of Health Sciences, to discuss how residents can stay safe. Dr. Ambate, welcome to NTV World Primetime News. Well, are there specific health issues that come with the cold wave, and are you witnessing more cases in hospital in this season?
Yes, definitely. During this winter season, Nepal, our hospital and other hospitals have seen a clear rise in emergency illness. Most commonly, we are seeing upper respiratory infections like control, pharyngitis, tonsillitis, even laryngitis in some cases, which is very common. They are usually viral. It can become complicated with mobility. Sometimes low respiratory also increasing. Patients with asthma, chronic obstructive airway disease, are experiencing more frequently flare up. We are also seeing more cases of bronchitis and pneumonia, especially among vulnerable populations, old age and the child. These cold air pollution, smoke, and overcrowding. They are also reduce immunity in patients, reduce immunity during winter. All these contribute to signal rise in case. The pattern is very clear every winter.
Dr. Amate, which groups of people are most at risk from the current cold wave in the country?
Groups. Okay, certain groups are more vulnerable usually all season of the winter, like elderly population. Elderly people are one of the major risk groups as their immunity is weaker, and many already have underlying health conditions like chronic obstructive airway disease, asthma, pneumonia, even tuberculosis. The major challenges for our community people. And after tuberculosis, there is another one lung problem, bronchitis happen. That makes our patients' lungs more weaker. And another risk group are children. They are at high risk because their immune systems are still developing and they get exposed easily at outside home health.
What immediate precautions should residents take to protect themselves from extreme cold?
Because the first and most important precaution step is avoiding unnecessary exposure to cold, especially at early mornings. So these early mornings walking might be a risk during this winter season and even late night. Wearing warm clothes, keeping the chest, neck and head covered with covering clothes is very important. People should stay hydrated and take warm food such as warm water, soup and other things. This helps maintain the body temperature and keeps the airways moist. And those for special groups like people with asthma, chronic obstructive airway disease, they should keep their medicines taken regularly. They shouldn't stop the medicine, especially in winter season. And they need to consult the doctor at early symptoms arise. Certain vaccines like influenza vaccines and pneumococcal vaccines are good for the vulnerable population and those patients who recurrently have common cold. So these vaccines might prevent them further deterioration.
Thank you very much for your time here on NTV World Primetime News.
Yeah, sure. My pleasure. So winter illness are preventable, but only if we take them seriously, early rather than waiting until they become emergency. So thank you.
Thank you very much. That was Dr. Yogendra Amate. He was assistant professor. He is, in fact, assistant professor at the Patan Academy of Health Sciences, and we discussed on how residents can stay safe during this cold temperatures and the cold season. And moving on, construction of the Siddha Baba tunnel being built with government funding has reached 65% completion. The 1,126-meter tunnel is part of the Siddhartha Highway in Tino rural municipality of Palpa, and 3 bypass tunnels have also been completed. However, access roads to the tunnel, cliff protection, retaining walls and rock shed structures are still under construction. Energy, Physical Infrastructure, Transport and Urban Development Minister Kulman Khising recently inspected the site, urging authorities and contractors to accelerate work and complete the project on schedule. The minister also instructed that pending approvals and the contractor's request for a 19-month extension due to delays be resolved immediately, ensuring the project meets its 2026 deadline. The Millennium Challenge account of Nepal Development Board MCA Nepal has signed 2 contracts totaling around $23.7 million for the implementation of 2 road infrastructure projects. A contract valued at around $20 million was awarded to the Sharma Kumar joint venture for the upgrading of Dhankhola Lamahi section of the East-West Highway under MCC Nepal Compact Road Maintenance Program. In addition, MCA Nepal has recently entered into a separate agreement worth about $3.66 million with the International Consultants and Technocrats Private Limited for supervising the upgrading works on the same road section and for conducting periodic maintenance of the Naranghat-Moglin Highway, the release added.
यस आयोजना अन्तर्गत पूर्व पश्चिम राजमार्गको धानखोलादेखि लमैसम्म 40 किलोमिटर जति छ। यो क्यारेज वे चाहिँ 7 मिटरको हुनेछ र दायाँ बायाँ 2.5 मिटर भएर यो 12 मिटरको चौडाइ हुनेछ, जबकि आज रोड चाहिँ त्यहाँ नाप्दाखेरि 6 मिटर कहीँ 6.5 मिटर मात्रै देखिन्छ।
This milestone reflects the strength of our bilateral relationship, the momentum of the Millennium Challenge Compact, and our shared commitment to delivering tangible results for the people of Nepal and the American businesses that are working here.
Local communities in Kaski are taking steps to protect the endangered vulture, long considered nature's scavenger. In Pokhara metropolitan city, Bagmara, residents have started active conservation efforts for the small brown vulture, which has become critically endangered due to habitat loss and the use of veterinary chemicals. Experts say protecting vultures not only helps preserve biodiversity but also promotes a cleaner environment and supports tourism. Currently, only about 75 small brown vultures remain in Nepal, and local pairs in Bagmara are now nesting, highlighting the urgent need for community-driven protection initiatives. Conservationists emphasize safe feeding, pesticide-free food and secure habitats to prevent the spread of diseases like cholera and rabies while safeguarding these vital scavengers. International news coming up next. For now, a short break. Over 100 journalists in Bangladesh's capital rallied to protest vandalism and arson at 2 major dailies during violence that erupted after the death of popular student leader Sharif Osman Hadi. Crowds set fire to several buildings in the capital last week, including the offices of leading newspapers Prothom Alo and the Daily Star, which critics accuse of favoring India. Police say investigations are underway into the attacks, but no arrests have been reported so far. Journalists called on authorities to ensure the safety of media workers and protect freedom of the press amid rising tensions. A Russian general has been killed in a car bombing in Moscow. Russia's investigative committee said Lieutenant General Fanil Sarvarov died on Monday morning after an explosive device planted under a car detonated. 56-year-old Sarvarov was the head of the Armed Forces Operational Training Department. It said one theory being investigated was that the bomb was planted with the involvement of Ukrainian intelligence services. Ukraine has yet to comment. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff has hailed talks on ending Moscow's war in Ukraine as productive and constructive after holding separate meetings with Ukrainian, European and Russian negotiators in the state of Florida. The talks in Miami on Sunday were the latest in a series of meetings between the U.S., Russia and Ukraine on a 20-point plan touted by U.S. President Donald Trump to end the nearly 4-year-old war. Despite the optimism from the US, there have been no clear signals of imminent resolutions to key hurdles, including on the issue of territory Russia has seized during the conflict. Witkoff, who met with Russian President Vladimir Putin's special envoy Kirill Dmitriev on Saturday, held talks on Sunday with officials from Ukraine and Europe. Officials from Thailand and Cambodia will meet next week to discuss the possibility of reviving a ceasefire, Thailand's foreign ministry has said, as deadly border clashes entered a third week. Both countries had signed a ceasefire earlier in July, brokered by US President Donald Trump. But fighting broke out again earlier this month, which both countries have blamed each other for. On Monday, top officials from both countries met at a summit in Malaysia, their first face-to-face meeting since fighting resumed. Well, more international news and sports update up next. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson has reiterated that the country's missile program is a defensive measure designed to deter potential attacks, insisting it is not subject to international negotiation. Speaking to the press, the spokesperson said the program is a core component of Iran's national security strategy and is aimed at protecting the country from external threats. The statement comes amid ongoing international concern over Iran's ballistic missile tests, particularly from Western nations and the United Nations, which have repeatedly called for restraint and dialogue. Japan is set to resume operations at the world's largest nuclear power plant, Kashiwazaki Kariwa. The partial restart of the plant got the green light in a vote on Monday by the Niigata local government. Japan has reopened several nuclear facilities as it seeks to reduce emissions, reversing policy 15 years after 54 reactors were shut in the wake of the Fukushima disaster, despite public opposition. Time now for sports update. Morocco got the party underway, but relief was the overriding emotion on Sunday as they overcame tiny Comoros 2-0 in the opening game of the Africa Cup of Nations finals. Rain dampened the atmosphere and nervy start, including a wasted penalty opportunity, reflected the intense pressure on the home team, who are the runaway favourites, but looking for their first Cup of Nations success in 50 years. It was only in the second half of the Group A game that they were able to break through with goals from Brahim Diaz and Ayoub El Kabi, though the scoreline might have been more flattering as the Minnows tired in the closing stages. The cost of tickets for next summer's FIFA World Cup in the United States, Canada and Mexico has triggered highly emotive public discourse. Football fans hoping to follow their dream team, in fact, from the opening group match to the final in New Jersey on July 19, 2026, can expect to pay around $7,000 in ticket prices alone. And then there's the travel, accommodation and day-to-day expenses that must also be factored in. The tournament is FIFA's cash cow, with the sale of broadcasting rights being the organization's most significant revenue source. And before we wrap up, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nepal's Prime Minister holding consultations with political parties and civil society. Discussion focused on laws and administrative arrangements for upcoming polls. Repeated shutdowns and strikes called under various banners continue to disrupt Nepal's education sector. Several private school and public schools in Kathmandu forced to close. Daily lives crippled with dip in mercury across Nepal. Dense fog and cold waves affect the Rai districts. Temperatures go down in the hilly region. Journalists in Bangladesh's capital rallied to protest vandalism and arson at two major dailies during violence that erupted after the death of popular student leader. A Russian general killed in a car bombing in Moscow. Russia's investigative committee identifies the deceased as Lieutenant General Vanil Sarvarov. And the cost of tickets for next summer's FIFA World Cup in the US, Canada and Mexico triggers highly emotive public discourse. That is all for NTV World Primetime News for now. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. Do join us through our social media and get the latest update from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu, Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World. Facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal. Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World.
Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands. Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
They say that life is all connected, even the most remote of animals and humans all rose from this earth. But after years of life on land and sea, have we thought about how far these connections sustain? Deep within Sri Lanka lies Udavalava, nestled nearly 200 kilometers away from the bustling capital city of Colombo. Born out of the need for agriculture, the Udavalava Reservoir in the 1960s paved the way for elephants to find refuge in the area. The town of Udavalava is an extraordinary tapestry of society where the vibrant synergy of locals and wildlife flourishes. A town where a national park, agricultural land, an elephant transit home and a community all exist in their harmony. As the sun rises over the serene Udavalava National Park, the people who call this place home embrace a livelihood intricately woven with nature's splendor. Resources are shared among the people of Udavalava and elephants alike. They thrive by building and trading monuments of culture around the world of elephants.
Today in the morning we make the safari, like 4 hours on the jeep, and it was actually really nice. We saw some elephants. We really enjoyed.
Among the cherished traditions in Sri Lanka, passed down through generations, is the awe-inspiring Gajaga Vannama, a mesmerizing dance performance that showcases the elegant spirit of elephants, honoring their grace and power in Sri Lankan heritage. This is the elephant transit home called At Athuru Sevana, a haven that serves as a refuge for orphaned, injured and malnourished elephants. This is where we found the enchanting tale of Namal.
අපේ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ නිලධාරීන්ට හම්බෙලා තියෙන අම්පාර නාමල්ලෝය කියන ප්‍රදේශයේදී වැලක පැටලිලා තුවාල වෙලා ඉන්න පොඩි පැටියෙක් තමයි හම්බෙලා තියෙන කකුලේ ආබාධයෙන් හින්දා උඩවල ඇත්තතුරු සෙවණට ගෙනල්ලා මෙයාව අර කකුලේ තුවාලේ වැඩි වෙන හින්දා මෙයාගේ ජීවිතේ බේර ගන්න තමයි මේ කකුල කපලා අයින් කරලා මෙයාට මේ කෘත්‍රිම කකුලක් හදලා දාලා උඩවල ඇත්තතුරු සෙවණේ බලාගන්න. අවුරුදු 13ක වයස වගේ ටිකක් වෙනස් සතෙක් මෙයා ටිකක් අර සැරයි. ටිකක් සාමාන්‍ය අනිත් අයට වගේ එහෙම කිට්ටු වෙන්න අමාරු. උරු වෙච්ච එක්කෙනෙකුට දෙන්නෙකුට වගේ තමයි මෙයත් එක්ක ගනුදෙනු කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඩෝලව මේ ආශ්‍රිත ප්‍රදේශයට ලොකු සම්පතක්. මොකද මේ වගේ සතෙක් මුළු ලෝකේ කොහෙවත් නැහැ. මොන ජීවිත අවදානම හරි මොන දේ තිබ්බත් අර ගොඩක් මම කැමති මේ සතාව බලා ගන්න. මොකද මේ එහෙම කවුරුත් නැතුව ගියොත් මේ සතා තවත් අසරණ වෙනවනේ.
Like Namal, all these gentle giants receive the loving care and attention they so desperately need at this elephant transit home located close to the national park. While Namal flourishes under the watchful eyes of his caretakers, not too far away from the park, the battle for resources between elephants and humans looms.
වයින් නැති කාලෙට ඒ කියන්නේ පැවුම් කාලේට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම එනවා වැඩි. ඒ වෙනකොට උන්ටක් කන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. ඉතින් උනුත් මේවට එනවා. කියන්නේ උන් අපි ඉතින් එලවනවා. ඉතින් කරදරයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ දැනුවත් වෙනා. උන්ටත් ඉතින් අපිත් උන් එලවනවා. උන් එනවා. ඉතින් වගාවල් වලට පයින්නවා. දිගටම ඒක තමයි ඉතින් වෙන්නේ. 6 වෙනකොට 6 7 වෙනකොට අනිවාර්යෙන් වහිනෝමයි යලි මේවට. කොට හිටවනවා කෙසෙල් ඔක්කොම ඉතින් කඩා කප්පල් වල දාලා උන්ගේ කැලේ වුණාට ඉතින් අපිත් ගොවිතැනක් කරගන්න මේකට ආයේ ගොවිතැන් බතක් කරගෙන ඉතින් අපි ඉන්නෝට ඉතින් තරහයි ඉතින් මොනෝ කරන්නද?
In the face of these challenges, the transit home provided a glimmer of hope. The generous support and compassion of humans offered a lifeline to these magnificent beings.
ඇත්තට සෙවන කියන එකේ තේමාවම ගත්තොත් යලිත් සියනේ ජිබිම් කරා පාන ගන්න කියන තේමාවට තමයි මේක ආරම්භ වුනේ. විශේෂයෙන් මානව ක්‍රියාකාරකම් සහ විවිධ ස්වභාවික සංසිද්ධීන් අනුව අවතැන් වෙන තුවාල වුණු අතරමං වුණු සත්තු අලිපැටව විශේෂයෙන් පුනරුත්ථාපනය කරන මධ්‍යස්ථානයක්. ඒගොල්ලෝ යම්කිසි කාලයක් මේගොල්ලන්ගේ පෝෂණය, සෞඛ්‍ය විවිධ සමාජීය කටයුතු කරලා මේගොල්ලෝ නිසි වයස එළඹුණාන් පස්සේ මේගොල්ලෝ නැවත ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ නිජ බිම් වලට ස්වභාවික පරිසරයට නිදහස් කිරීම තමයි මෙතන වෙන මූලික සංකල්පය.
Current societal changes, the cultural changes and the development changes has resulted in what we hear and the way we see things today in the present. Today the tourists come to see elephants in captive locations like Udawalawe. Now these relationships and these things being successful in Sri Lanka is because of development, and yet there is this feeling of sustainability in nature that Sri Lankan has, and therefore we feel the elephant as still part of our naturalness.
People help these gentle giants by fostering and even donating milk to the little elephants that find their way to this second home, ensuring that they are nurtured before joining the wilderness once again.
This is the first time, so the baby elephants are so cute.
Yes.
So cute, so many. I like elephants because they're very cute, and we don't have elephants at home.
ජීවිතේ ප්‍රථම වතාවට තමයි මේ වගේ අත්දැකීමක් විඳින්න හම්බුනේ. ඒක තාම සුන්දර අත්දැකීමක්. මේ වගේ අලි කුඩා අලි පැටව දකින්න ලැබුණේ නම් ප්‍රථම වතාවට මෙහෙම ඒගොල්ලෝ කිරි බනවා, කෑම කනවා දකින්න ලැබිච්ච ඉතින් සුන්දර අත්දැකීමක් විඳින්න හම්බුනේ.
The opportunities to see the wild animals and to be with nature and to be in nature is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
උඩවලවේ අලියා ඉන්න නිසා තමයි මේ හැම දෙයක්ම අපට ලැබිලා තියෙන්නේ. විශේෂයෙන්ම අලියා අපි කියනවා කීස්ටෝන් එකක්. එහෙම නැත්නම් එයා යතුරක්. ඒක ජාතික වනෝද්‍යානය තුළ සංරක්ෂිත භූමියේ විතරක් නෙමෙයි අලියා යතුරු පෝරුවක් වෙන්නේ. අලියා සංරක්ෂිත ප්‍රදේශයෙන් පිට පරිබාහිර මේ ගම්මාන වලටත් මේ අලියා යතුරු පෝරුවක් කරනවා. මොකද මේ යතුරු කැරැල්ලේ ප්‍රධාන යතුරු නැති වුණොත් මේ ගම වැටෙන්න පුළුවන්. විශේෂයෙන්ම රුජු හා වක්‍ර රැකියාවල් 10000කට ආසන්න ප්‍රමාණයක් මේ වෙද්දි උඩවලව ආශ්‍රිතව උඩවලව ජාතික වනෝද්‍යානය ආශ්‍රිතව සංචාරක කර්මාන්තයට දායක වෙනවා.
And amidst the serene landscapes of the Udawalawa National Park, tourism flourishes. Visitors from around the world are welcomed to witness the grandeur of elephants in their natural habitat, forging a profound and everlasting connection with nature and Sri Lanka. Yet, the true essence of sustainability lies beyond the surface, entwined with the very existence of these gentle giants.
The national park's incredible. So many elephants. We saw the baby orphans this morning as well, which was amazing. Really, really cool. Yeah, just so much to see.
The prosperity of the people relies on the delicate balance created by the coexistence of humans and elephants. As the sun sets over the enchanting landscapes of Udawalawa, the resounding rhythm of the gentle giants prevails.
My first time, and it's like magnificent. These animals are so beautiful. Like crazy. We've seen hundreds of elephants.
The timeless tales of these elephants stand as a subtle reminder of how people and the gentle beasts alike can walk together. It symbolizes the power of sustainable tourism in Sri Lanka. it symbolizes the power of togetherness. For centuries, the Kumail community of Nepal has lived closely tied to the earth, shaping clay, cultivating land, and sustaining a cultural identity rooted in indigenous skill, craft, and tradition. Recognized as one of Nepal's marginalized indigenous nationalities, the Kumails traditionally settle in the hilly regions and inner Tarai plains. Cultural practices and oral histories indicate that they have been part of Nepal's civilization since ancient times. As inhabitants of Nepal's fertile river valleys and plains, the Kumails have carried forward a deep-rooted tradition of earthenware craftsmanship, agriculture, and a rich cultural heritage that reflects centuries of resilience and adaptation. Their pottery has been more than household utility. It has been a marker of identity, livelihood, and cultural continuity. Today, as modern vessels replace handmade earthen vessels, the Kumails find themselves preserving not only a profession but a heritage passed down through generations. According to an ancient belief, clay work began at the time of creation when Prajapati, the son of Brahma, molded the first earthen vessel using Sudarshan Chakra of Lord Vishnu. The Sanskrit term Kumbhakar, meaning pot maker, gradually transformed, becoming Kumhar and eventually Kumail. Even today, pottery remains spiritually and culturally significant for the community. In Kumail settlements, soil is not just the ground beneath their feet. It is raw material, cultural memory, and a symbol of survival. The Kumail population is spread mainly across central Tarai districts of Nepal, namely across Lumbini, Gandaki, and Bagmati provinces. Traditionally, they rely on two main occupations, agriculture and pottery. Farms provided daily sustenance, while pottery supported household needs and served as a source of income. Community life historically revolved around extended family systems, with shared labor, collective participation in rituals, and a strong sense of belonging to ancestral land. Pottery for the Kumails is a detailed, multi-stage skill passed down through generations. The process begins with identifying the right soil. Black clay, the Kalo Matu, was traditionally preferred for its strength and texture. It was collected near riverbanks, ponds, and settled waterbeds.
Among Tharu Kumals, this clay is also known as Kamaune Matu, meaning clay that earns. Clay is soaked, softened and thoroughly kneaded. Using a tool called pasur, potters slice and cleanse the clay to remove impurities. In earlier times, bamboo tools were used instead of iron. The prepared clay is stored covered, maintaining moisture for shaping. The chakra or potter's wheel remains central to Kumal identity. Hands center the clay, fingers guide it and experience shapes it.